Hey everyone. It has been a very long time. I kind of left the whole podcast world for a little while. There's a lot of wonderful things coming up that I will definitely keep you up to date on. But for this time, I'm really excited for this discussion I'm going to have with a new friend. Her name is Shipp. And I would love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself, Anna.
Well, thank you. I'm excited to be here. My name is Anna. I'm 43. I'm let's see here. I'm married. We have 7 children together. We're a blended family, and we're a family of total neurodivergence, and
Yay!
with lots of the dynamics that come with that. I'm an artist, an author, and a musician, and multi-passionate in really fun ways. And I love diving into ideas. I love digesting them and then shooting them back out with new insights if I can find them. So that's a big part of me.
I love it. You are an incredible writer. What I have read from you, I cannot wait for your book. You have a beautiful way with words.
Thank you.
I know that you have Aquarius in your big 3 somewhere. Is that right?
It's my son.
Okay, that's what I thought. And then what's your moon sign?
I'm a Virgo moon and a Leo rising.
Very nice. I knew that Virgo. I was like, we bond over that Virgo. So yeah, I have a Virgo sun and a Virgo rising, so I have quite a bit
awesome.
Of it.
Yeah.
And you said a Libra, right? Or Libra rising?
Leo rising.
Leo rising. Oh, wonderful. Yeah. Well, so fun. How did we come about this? Oh, that's right. In one of the Facebook groups, in Naomi's group, yes. I learned about Gate 39. So usually what I talk about on this podcast is astrology. We're going to talk a little bit about human design because Anna is certified in human design and knows a lot about it. And I discovered Gate 39, the gate of provocation. And I thought, what on earth? How can this be helpful for me? And I posted in the group, and then you had all these wonderful things to say about it. So if you wouldn't mind telling us a little bit about Gate 39 and why it's a positive thing. Because when I first saw it, I was like, people are just going to be pissed off at me all the time. I don't really love that. And so tell us about that.
So Gate 39, if you, so the backbone of human design really is the Chinese I Ching. Mm-hmm. And so Gate 39 comes from hexagram 39, and it's all based on 8 basic elements. And this is the combination of mountain energy and then water energy. Okay. So it's like the mountain in the river. What is the obstacle in the flow? Mm-hmm. And if you look at mountain energy is very much about sustainability. It's not moving anywhere, right? Which on the bright side, it's steadfast. On the shadow side, it is stubborn.
Yeah, I can see that.
So we're looking at how do we flow around stubbornness? How do we flow around, these obstacles that get in our way is, the elemental backbone of this gate. And when Ra got his download, the first thing that came was the shadow side of everything. So provocation really is, at its core, carries the stigma of provoking, right? We are heavily conditioned not to provoke anyone's emotions, like ever. Like you are not a good person if you provoke somebody's feelings, if you hurt them, if you instigate a conflict, right? There's a lot of stigma around that. And so that really is kind of the backbone of this energy in its unconscious side.
Yes.
On the conscious side. Oh, go ahead.
Just real quick. You said when Ra got his download, just for people that are brand spanking new, maybe even haven't heard of human design, Can you explain who Ra is?
Yes. So Ra Urahu, that is his chosen name after he received this revelation. He had a psychedelic experience where he heard a voice, and this experience with the voice shared with him this wisdom of differentiation and the energy and the archetypes of all the energy that combined all of these ancient systems that have been used to kind of make sense of human behavior. So you have the Kabbalah and the I Ching, astrology, and quantum physics. All of it comes together in a really beautiful way. And he heard this and had like an 8-day long experience with the voice, just giving him all this information about all of these archetypes and how everything had not only a shadow side, but also has a gift. And so the first thing that he received was the shadow side. And, and recognizing that everything in its core form really is neutral. Energy just, it's neutral, but we are heavily conditioned with stigma and shame and guilt to like make certain parts of our experience very, very negative, that we can't help it evolve into its highest expression of that energy.
Right.
Because we're trapped in these judgments on the lower side. So that's where the provocation comes from.
Okay, perfect. So, and as far as I understand, it's learning how to provoke at the right times in the right way.
Yes.
It's like you have to kind of, you don't want to do it because that's the thing is, with my kids especially, I can see how this can come out sometimes when I get really annoyed with them. I can provoke them. And I don't always mean to, but sometimes it just
happens.
But I also know that if I use wisdom and I use it to kind of provoke an emotional response that teaches them something, I don't know. I'm still trying to learn how to use it, but for someone that has gate 39 and is trying to figure out how to use it for good, yes. What would you recommend them doing? Because like, how can they apply that in their life?
Well, one thing that is really interesting is that we always move through the shadow first before we get to the gift. And so recognizing the shadow of the gate of provocation means, and it's really going to be about our attitude, because the energy really is about how do we deal with obstacles? How do we flow around them? And are we resisting them, or are we in acceptance and flowing around? Well, while we are in resistance, this is going to create a lot of anger. And it's going to create a lot of, and because anger is the most like tabooed emotion, when we use suppress it, you actually suppress your own creative energy with it.
Okay.
And so this energy, when it comes out, like your inner attitude is really going to direct the attitude, you know, of how it interacts with other people. So becoming very aware, this energy is going to tell you what is going on internally.
Okay.
And, you know, I was doing some reading of Gene Keys, which is an offshoot of human design. Richard Rudd did a contemplation of all of the gates, and he was one of Ra's students.
Okay.
And so one of the things that he wrote about in this energy is that this energy actually, so it's in the root, it's adrenaline related. It is actually very instinctive energy.
Okay.
And what's powerful about that is, so I don't know if you've ever heard the term that regression is contagious.
Regression is contagious. No.
So when we go into our wounded state, that's contagious. But the other thing that's contagious is if we go into our higher state, that is also contagious. So that's basically what's happening here. It's the contagion. The energy that I'm starting in when I say something And it sort of doesn't really matter what I say because I have no control over how other people are going to receive it.
No.
And we don't. So part of that is just allowing ourselves to flow and recognizing, am I in resistance or am I in acceptance of the obstacles in my way?
Okay.
So if I'm in resistance to my children having an emotional outburst, my attitude is going to come through in how I talk to them. And
True.
I might provoke that worse.
Yeah.
But if I'm in my grounded state, I can share my regulated state with them. And that can provoke regulation within them. So provocation means what within me is going to influence outside of me. What
Right.
is starting within me?
Okay.
And if I'm in a reactive state, I'm most likely going to get a reactive response.
That's very true. Okay. I see.
Yeah. So it's a very internally motivated energy. But what happens is when we start recognizing, and most people who have this energy are not consciously aware that they have this energy. And so because it's so heavily conditioned to be a bad thing and a negative thing, it's really hard to own and really hard to say, yeah, like I am designed to say things that provoke a reaction in other people.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
And sometimes it just happens. And sometimes that's how we discharge our anger when we're not thinking about it, when we're unaware in our unconscious state. And you'll always have unconscious with conscious. So it's just becoming more and more aware of what's going on. You can bring those into an integrated state where at some point you're liberating energy with provocation.
Okay. I love that. That makes a lot of sense. Yes, I have I have Lilith right next to my MC. Okay.
Oh, wow.
And Chiron is right next to that. So
boy.
they're this beautiful little party in my house. And that's part of my business. Like that's part of my work in the public is to kind of piss people off sometimes. And I don't mean to. I just say what I think, or say how I see something. And it's funny, like I'll even feel like it's the most like in the middle moderate view. I'll feel like it's actually pretty tame and people are like, what could you possibly think that? And it's like,
right.
So, but yeah, I can definitely see that Lilith kind of enjoys it sometimes. I'm not gonna lie.
She would.
Sometimes she enjoys the reaction. She's kind of what's the word? Amused. I'm slightly amused.
Entertained.
Yes. So I need to work on that, but I definitely see that. So going into this more, so as we were talking about before, why I brought this up and how we got to know each other is I have what is called rejection sensitivity dysphoria. You also said that you have that as well. And it's very much a part of ADHD. I know from my research you can have rejection sensitivity dysphoria, not having ADHD, but I know that they definitely go hand in hand most of the time.
Right. More associated with ADHD.
Right, exactly. And so it's interesting how that compounds this gate even more because it makes me want to react and then provoke. Because I'm reacting out of, ouch, that hurt, right? So for those that don't know about RSD, I have some really great information here. It's from the Dodson ADHD Center. And they have been, it's a doctor, I guess, there, or a therapist. He's been studying it for 22 years, and he has a list of questions to ask people to find out, if they have ADHD. Most people have questionnaires. And one of the questions he has is, for your entire life, have you always been much more sensitive than other people to rejection, teasing, criticism, or your own perception that you have failed or fallen short?
Yes. Absolutely.
And he said, over the last 20 years, 99.9% of my ADHD patients have not just endorsed this criterion positively, they have underlined it, put stars by it, and added, this is my major problem. So this is definitely something that needs to be talked about if you have ADHD.
Yes.
And what's interesting is it says that the Greek word, or the Greek translation, I guess, for dysphoria is difficult to bear. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%.
It's crazy.
Yes.
How it literally feels like painful, like physically painful. And it's so interesting how it can be not only just rejection, although a lot of the neurodiverse community just experiences legit rejection,
Right.
but it's perceived rejection and criticism. So just like that hypersensitive tone of voice, or I just remember getting so I would just be like hyper vigilant, and most of my life just looking for ways that people were rejecting me so that I could change my behavior so they wouldn't reject me. But it's crazy how it becomes almost like this instinct to say, oh, this is something that is making them feel uncomfortable. I feel rejected the way that I said that, or the words I used, or my mannerisms, or whatever. People would say, why are you looking at my shoulder? I'm like, I'm not looking at your shoulder. I'm looking at your eyes. But apparently I wasn't. I felt like I was. But so many times people would say, why are you looking at my shoulder? That's weird. And I was like, it just really uncomfortable, because that feels like criticism, rejection. It is. But the way that I took it was like, I am failing at life. And I would just beat myself up. I'm sure the Virgo did not help at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it compounds it for sure.
And so another thing that was interesting is, it says that that perceived criticism or withdrawal of love, even if it's not really being withdrawn, it feels like it's just as intense as if it actually was happening.
Right.
And that's just fascinating to me. And they said that people tend to react in one and two ways. They'll either internalize it and go into like a deep depression, and sometimes can get almost suicidal. Sometimes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I experienced that.
Did you?
Yes. It was like the worse and worse it got, the closer and closer to the edge I got.
Wow.
Like I spiraled faster and harder and faster and harder each time. I felt like I was failing, and it fried my nervous system totally and completely.
Oh, I'm sure it did. Yeah. And like you said, you have that Virgo moon. So
yeah.
Right.
But I made a breakthrough with my therapist recently. And this is actually one of my final therapy sessions. I do accelerated resolution therapy, ART, which is phenomenal for this, for rejection sensitivity dysphoria. Because one of the things I figured out is at the heart of it, it's survival based.
Totally. Absolutely.
And if you think about survival based thinking, it's extremely black or white. You are either safe or you are unsafe.
Yes.
And one of the things that I, discovered about that, and it happened from a different book, completely not related to RSD at all, but I totally saw myself in it, where it talked about the lowest form of consciousness is our fight or flight state. When we are in complete instinct from fear. And in that state, you things are either good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we reach that state of rejection sensitivity, we reach that state because we have an inherent doubt in our own goodness.
Yes.
There, like, for whatever reason, whether it was we didn't receive co-regulation when we were infants as long as and as much and as long as we needed,
Mm-hmm.
so that we couldn't develop a trust that our needs would be met. To some degree, there is an inherent doubt of our goodness that when you, and so you rely on the outer world to tell you you are good enough. So if someone points out a flaw or points out like some way that you failed or that you're not doing, or something just seems kind of weird,
Right.
you know, because your needs might have been too big when you were really little and really had no way of taking care of your own needs. You didn't get that soothing to your nervous system to feel safe in your body, feeling that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it being survival based, and gate 39 is survival energy as well.
Right. I was thinking about that. Absolutely.
It is adrenaline energy as well.
Mm-hmm.
So these two things actually can go very, very hand in hand, because as you start healing rejection, sensitivity, dysphoria, you start freeing up the energy of gate 39, and the provocation goes from reactive, negative reactive energy to a more positive, more grounded, more regulated provocation, where now you're helping others grow along with you. It evolves, you know, from the lower, oh my gosh, I'm going to die. No one's going to be there to take care of me. No one's going to be there to help me take care of myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you have this sense like I'm not good enough. And that's, and the more you feel that, and the more you repeat that, the deeper and farther that groove goes, you know, the more healing work you need around it.
Totally. Absolutely.
It has taken me years to finally experience a little bit of criticism, a little bit of negative feedback, and just say, oh, that did not feel good. Let me just sit with that for a minute, and then get up and just not be reactive.
Right.
To that, you know.
Right. Because you have your own back now.
Exactly.
You're parenting yourself, you're witnessing yourself, you're holding space for all of it.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
interesting.
more convinced of my own goodness now.
Right. So,
but it still gets triggered in
totally
when things are like a little bit more intense, you know. But over time, just to give hope to anybody struggling with this, over time, it can get less intense. There can be more time that goes between the times that you get triggered into that defensiveness, and the defensiveness, you start to recognize it sooner.
Yes.
You know, and you start to catch yourself in it.
Yes.
And say, oh, whoa, let me try that again. Like that was, false start.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so nice that you can give yourself, you know, permission to try that again. And I think for me, I had to really get to that point that I wasn't as reactive as much, was to do parts work.
Yes.
That, yeah. So I've been doing parts work with a therapist, and whoa, like so powerful. And then just being able to look at some of these parts of yourself that you at first are like, what do I even do with this? Like, you know, and it gets easier and easier to have compassion and understanding of where they came from in the first place. And then you're just like, oh, you poor wounded child. And because most of these parts fractured when I was like 4 or 5.
Right.
I was so young. And so I got thinking about that, and it's like, well, the younger you go back, the emotional reaction is going to be bigger, I would think, because you're a child. Like, before you even have any understanding of how to cope with emotion, even especially if you didn't even learn how to regulate emotion, which I didn't.
Right. Most of us, I don't know if you're familiar with the book How We Love. by
No.
Mylan and Kay Yurkovich. It is phenomenal. It has at the end of the book, so it talks about attachment injuries, and then it tells you how to help each other heal. And it has this tool called the comfort circle, where you actually take turns like holding each other kind of like a baby. Because what we don't realize is that most of us stopped being co-regulated far sooner than we need it. We need co-regulation clear up until we are at least 7 years old.
Absolutely.
Most of us, like the parenting strategies at the time, were let them cry it out, the cry it out method. And so we were left alone, causing this stress in our bodies. And, you know, and our parents didn't know. So we can't fully blame them.
No.
You know, but we can say, okay, that did happen though.
Yeah,
you know,
that's part of my story.
This was the advice at the time.
Exactly. You know, absolutely. Yeah. And then just the shutting down, because like my dad, I'm pretty sure has ADHD. And so his emotional regulation wasn't great. And so when I would start to lose it, he would start to lose it and just shut me down. And it's again, he didn't know.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's an extremely common pattern with parents.
Exactly.
You know.
So I didn't learn because he didn't know how.
Right. Exactly. Well, and that's one of the things that I feel like is so powerful with ART is sometimes when I'll go back to that a memory of where I was sort of like taken to my bedroom, what I imagine is my mom or dad sitting on my bed with me and telling me, this is how we respond to, you know, this kind of provocation. This is how we respond to this kind of provocation. When, you know, and if you need to cry and if you need a hug, come ask for a hug instead of hitting someone, you know, like, and I would imagine them coming in with me and holding me until I could calm down. And that ended up being a really powerful visualization to help with the, like, the felt sense of rejection sensitivity, is going back and doing the eye movements. I don't know if you're familiar with ART, do the EMDR movements. But you get the chance to redirect some of these memories. So I've gone back and redirected a lot of these memories of crying and actually being held instead of, you know, like I was adopted when I was 9, and I was already very angry by then. My mom had passed away when I was 7. And so there was a lot of trauma, and my parents were very stable. They were very good and loving, but we didn't have a bond. And so emotional neglect was a theme of my upbringing. And I think they were waiting for me to approach them, was one of the things my mom said. And it wasn't until she passed away that, you know, my daughter asked me, how many times did Nana, you know, cuddle you? And I was like, never. I don't think I ever got held while I was crying. Maybe once when I was like about to go through my divorce.
Oh my goodness.
Like, but it, for a lot of people, like, that's normal. I found out later that, like, actually there's a lot of people with biological parents that were never held or cuddled.
Interesting.
You know, when they had their emotions, their parents just weren't the comforting type. You know, they just didn't know what they didn't know, and the bond wasn't there, you know, even for biological families. And so I go back now and I'll go to those memories, and now I create in my mind the memories where my mom held me or my dad held me and let me cry and then walked me through a better response.
Wow.
That is a powerful, I mean, reparenting myself, instead of it being me, like I'm actually like saying, no, I'm getting this from my parents, from my idea of what my parents would have done had they had this information.
Interesting. So you don't find that your brain kicks it out because like, I just feel like my brain would kick that out because it's like, this isn't true.
Well, the thing is, it's not so much about whether or not it's true. It's about resolving the emotional memory.
Okay.
So rejection sensitivity dysphoria is it's a memory network.
Okay.
And the theme of it is rejection.
Right.
And we go into perfectionism with us because we're trying to prove our goodness.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So that doubt of our goodness plays into this cycle. And every time something else comes up, we go through the cycle again and again and again. So it's not about whether or not it's true. It's about, does it resolve the emotion of the memory?
Okay. Okay.
So for me, like, I could imagine myself, but my brain pushes that out when it comes from me, because I so desperately needed co-regulation that my brain totally absorbs it like a sponge. That when I imagine my parents, because that's so much what I wanted, imagining it happening actually calms the nervous system response within me. And I think the other thing that is helpful is that I was able to resolve things with my mom before she died. And my dad now is extremely supportive. And, just recently I had a conflict with my husband. It wasn't bad, but it was still like, oh, this is kind of a rough day. And so I texted my dad and I just said, Dad, can you please just remind me that you love me? And he sent me the most beautiful response, honoring my growth, honoring my efforts to rejoin the family and to build new relationships, and how the family was benefiting from all the work that I had done. And so I have present day confirmation.
Okay.
Dad would have comforted me had he had this information then, because he's comforting me now,
Oh, yeah. I love that. Oh, that's so cool. So yeah, we were talking about how RSD can be internalized, but also it can be externalized. Let's talk about that. So we're talking about the explosive nature of RSD, the anger, the rage. This is probably more how I've experienced RSD. I definitely have internalized experiences, but I maybe it's that provocation again. I just kind of lash out.
Oh, I was a very angry child.
Yeah.
Yes. I verbally destroy people.
Yeah. So it's very interesting how it's and it's like they said that even those that struggle with like domestic violence or road rage, like 50% of them have undiagnosed ADHD. Like that's crazy.
Yes.
So it's obviously something that it's either the rejection of themselves or the perceived rejection from others, I would assume. Yeah. So I wonder.
I was just going to say, I think that's really fascinating to think about the road rage aspect of it, and also just like the externalizing of it, because that, it is a discharge of the energy. It sort of gets it off, but it keeps the cycle going whenever you do it, and so like, I think that's becoming aware of that, like when you first start making repairs and amends for that, and start saying, whoa, that was me. Like, I can't blame that on anyone else. Like, that's when it really starts to change, because otherwise it's like the snake that eats its own tail. It just consumes itself with the reactivity.
Right.
And what's interesting is like gate 30, I have gate 39 in my chart, but I also have gate 49 as my sun, and the shadow side of that is reactivity.
Oh, okay.
So I am very well versed in this reactivity.
Have some fire in you.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm
learning how to name it.
So you've had to really pay attention to the stories you tell yourself, because that's very
100%.
good for me too. Like trying to say, did they really mean that? And just asking or inquiry. I don't know a ton about that. The work. I've been.
I love it. It's one of my favorite tools.
Yeah, most people that have read it are like, it's the best thing ever. I don't necessarily, I said, it's on my list. I'm doing the shadow work, the inner child, all of that stuff right now. I'm actually diving really deep into radical self-acceptance and self-compassion.
Oh, awesome.
Yes.
It'll help you right on that. Yeah. If you wanted something.
Tara Brock is who I'm working with. Yes.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting because I was so skeptical about like self-compassion and radical self-acceptance. I think a lot of, especially Virgos, they're like, how on earth is that going to help me be perfect?
Right. Exactly. What does accepting imperfection help me be better? You know,
yeah, exactly.
It just seems like things are going to get worse.
I was
but it
so
actually makes me better.
I was so in resistance. I was so skeptical, but it is absolutely life-changing.
Yes.
And it's so like, it's simple, but it's not.
Right.
And I think more I've been doing that, the less reactive I'm becoming, because I'm always like saying, oh, you know, it's okay that I feel this way. My feelings are true. The stories, not so much, but the feelings are true.
Yes, totally valid. They come from somewhere. There is A plus B that equals a C here.
Yeah. And it's interesting how much I had to kind of go through like mental gymnastics about my emotions are true.
Yes.
For a long time, I literally felt like my emotions, like I shouldn't feel that way.
Right. Because you're taught to gaslight yourself out of your emotions.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
How, like, they're obviously messengers. They obviously have something they want to share with me. And for me to just dismiss them, it's just not helpful.
Right.
So I found it interesting how I just sat with that. I was like, wait, my emotions are like their truth? Like, really?
Yeah, they're revealing the truth of what you are thinking and experiencing internally, what you're remembering.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it's been interesting. Like I said, I have a Cancer moon, so and it's a 0-degree Cancer moon. So we're learning a lot about emotional landscape. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. It's great. So anyway, yeah, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the political climate, what's going on in the world. We're not going to go into like details because I don't want to argue politics or anything, but I do find it interesting how I hear this over and over again. Words are weapons. Words are violence. In regards to this, as we've been talking about, and how many neurodiverse people there are in this world, especially young people, you gotta wonder if this rage where they feel like they have to retaliate, that it actually is like a physical punch, or it's just an interesting concept, right? That literally, because I felt like, oh, someone just stabbed me in the chest. It's a physical ouch. And those that don't have RSD are going to be like, what is the big deal? Like, you're fine. It's, you know, just words, but it feels like a physical blow.
Right.
And so I just kind of wonder if that's more of what we're experiencing right now, is a whole lot of RSD.
Oh, I think so. It's showing itself like on all sides.
I agree.
You know, and so I think I really do think believing that words are violence is doing the collective a huge disservice.
Absolutely.
Because it is giving people permission, once they cross the line into contempt, that it's contempt that gives you permission to meet verbal violence with physical violence.
Exactly. Because it feels equivalent.
Right.
It feels exactly.
Yeah.
And so if your beliefs are different, then it feels like rejection. And I felt that. I have literally felt when someone says, these are my beliefs, I have felt that physical rejection because I don't believe that. And and it has nothing to do with them, but it is this kind of weird sensation of, oh, I feel rejected, because if they knew what I believed, they would reject me.
Yes. Well,
So
and here's the thing. Yeah. So here's the thing. I actually think those of us, especially those of us who are aware that we have provocation energy, we have a responsibility when we are putting something out there to stimulate growth for others. We have a responsibility to build a bridge. And both sides have people that say, I'm just committed to truth. You just don't like the truth, or you just can't handle the truth. And it's like, truth actually builds bridges. Opinion will burn them down to the ground. And if we don't take responsibility to build bridges between your belief and mine, then we're probably not ready to put our stuff out there, because it will just continue the cycle of reactivity. Because if we get shocked that our view, and especially if it's a polarized view, if I put out a polarized opinion that's going to alienate a certain group of people, if I don't want that to happen and I don't want that to come back at me, then I need to build a bridge to them that say, hey, but we're still together. Like, this part might not be right, but let's look at our sameness in this other way. Let's build a bridge where we can like walk across this together and be there to support people, because it's like when you understand rejection sensitivity, you're going to be able to help other people work through, because you understand the felt sense of it. Right? So once you start, and it sounds like you already have some good experience with this, you're going to be able to articulate, okay, I understand what happens when this intensity spreads throughout your body, and it's like your head floods and your heart starts racing and everything just gets hot. And fear, you're like cold and hot at the same time, and you get that shakiness. Like, you can describe that. So you say, I know what that feels like, but here's a bridge to come here with me. Like, we all have different beliefs, and it's okay to have a different belief. We don't have to agree for me to say, you can take up your space and I can take up my space, and together we can still support each other. You know, and so I think if we're going to help people in a state that is still reactive, we're going to have to be able to speak to that I've been reactive too. And I know what this feels like. Because when you say I'm with you, I know this, you build a bridge. But so many of the talking heads right now, they're just throwing insults out. And yeah, it's provoking. It's 100% provoking and provocative. But there's not a lot of compassion with it. You know, and so like those provocations are just going to continue a cycle of reactivity. But if we can have awareness that we have this energy, we have the power to elevate it in ourselves and then share it to elevate others with us.
I love this so much.
That we're above anybody, but just come with me. You know,
I love it. I think it's definitely something that I can meditate more on, how I can do that. Because to be honest, I've been really in a very internal seed place, as I am going through Pluto square Pluto, Neptune square Neptune, huge faith expansion. Everything's getting burned to the ground. So I've been feeling like in this little seed, like this is why I haven't been on my podcast, guys, because this is why. Because like I literally am just like, what's truth?
Yes.
I don't know. And so it's fantastic and crazy. Like, it's hard for sure. But what's so beautiful about it is I'm starting to really get back into what my truth is, and feeling more, I guess, not comfortable, that's not the word, but at home with my new beliefs because they are so very different. To be honest, they're very different. And it's interesting how I love how you said we have a responsibility, because I agree with you. And I think that part of the issue is that we don't take enough time to be in that little seed place and that little internal place to really figure it out and to get not comfortable. I don't like that word. At home, like
At home,
the
yes.
Cancer moon is like at home with my paradigms, with my beliefs. Sorry, my kid's trying to get to this room. You're just hearing it. Anyway, so you need time. And I feel like that's another part of the issue is there's the echo chamber. We're repeating. We're repeating what we're reading, and we're not taking the time to really think it through and marinate on it and say, do I really believe that? Doing the due diligence is the word that, that doing the due diligence about it. And I think that's where, because I've experienced this, is I've been, very much an echo, and just like, oh, I respect this person. This is what they say. So this is what I say. And I've been looking to other people to give me a voice.
Right.
And it's only recently that I've been like, what is my voice? And it's been scary to say, well, what is my voice? There's a point to this. I'm going to get to it. But basically, I think what happens is that these people don't take enough time to get at home with their beliefs. And when people question it, they get reactive because they don't have anything to stand on and they haven't been at home with it long enough. And there's actually probably even a part of their brain that's like, do I believe this? Oh, shoot, maybe I don't, but I can't say that. It's like that vulnerability is, I can't say that maybe I don't know. And like, I have to know that certain, oh, the plague of certainty. Oh, I won't get into that. But this need to be certain, and I have to know, and it has to be this way, it has to be right. And just not spending enough time trying to figure out your own mind and your own voice.
Right.
I think what is happening is that foundation is not built, and people are just, it's like a house of cards. It's just,
yes, it's very insecure.
Very insecure.
Most people in their belief systems are actually quite insecure because they were formed in a state of powerlessness and fear. Because we form our belief system from 0 to 7, and then 7 to 14 is reinforcing it, and a little bit of like very much biased confirmation. You're repeating what you're seeing. And then from 14 to 21, you're getting a little bit of individuation where you're starting to see more what's you than what's other people. And some people have systems and organizations that have very firm thoughts that they don't go through that development stage at those ages when their brainwaves change. And so they're experiencing it much later on in life.
Right.
Where then you finally start questioning. It isn't until like 14 to 21 when you're individuating that you really start to question anything. And so for it, the stronger the system that you have to hold your beliefs to for belonging, the later it will take for you to get to that place of questioning your own beliefs.
Yes. And
that awakening comes. And so there are so many of us that like we're in our 30s and 40s, finally asking, well, what is truth? And what has just been repeated? And what am I just regurgitating?
Yes.
And what do I actually believe? What is actually in alignment with who I am? And that's one of the things I love about Abraham Hicks and all of the channeling with Esther and Jerry Hicks that they've put out is, in the Vortex. I don't know if you're familiar with that one, where they talk about it. So much of our issues is because we think there's one right way to live, and we keep trying to impose that on everybody should live that one right way. And And so like that sense of trying to control what is not ours to control, and that sense of like trying to assert powerlessness into control,
Oh,
and to
totally.
feel a sense of power, that you can't really change someone's actions, but you can use your words to try to intimidate. You can use your words to try to like sort of like logic someone into acceptance, but primacy wins. What you believe, whether it's true or not, usually wins until you are ready to question what's inside.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's why I said I literally feel like I've just burned most of it to the ground. I'm starting over.
Yes.
It's been beautiful. And we can probably talk about this later because like psychedelics have actually been a huge part of my burning it down.
Yeah.
Rising from the ashes. And I know that you have used, is that right? You used ketamine?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I did ketamine injections. I
It
saved my life.
It saved your life. Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah, my nervous system was absolutely fried, and it just completely, like, it showed me how tightly wound I was. Like, I was like operating up here, and it like brought me way down.
Yes. Yes.
And allowed my whole body to just integrate all the cognitive work that I'd done the 7 years before that. And so now it's all finally like really integrated. And I feel like the ketamine allowed that.
Yeah, I agree. Because again, with psilocybin is what I used, and and it softens my brain. That's the best way to describe it. Is it gets me out of my default network.
Yeah.
And it expands my mind and lets me see things. And it's so helpful for autism because of that rigidity. And then it softens it. And so that you can see past your rules, you know?
Right.
So we should absolutely talk about
good for like, it's like it pulls the curtain on your ego so you can get to your like authentic space.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, we should definitely talk about that another time because we're running out of time.
I would love that.
I would love to discuss, talk psychedelics because I love them. And again, it's crazy. Like 2 years ago, I would look at myself and say, who are you? That's like 2 years ago. I don't even recognize myself at all. Yeah, just the craziness. So thank you so much for having this conversation with me. This was so fun.
Yes, and thank you for inviting me. This was really fun for me too.
Oh, good. Please, let us know. You have a website, or where can we find you?
Yeah, right now I'm focusing on writing my book more than anything. But you can find me on Facebook, and I am doing human design readings. I did help create the light field certification course.
That's so cool.
And so you can find me on Naomi's site there.
Okay.
And then, or just on Facebook. I've decided that my main method that I'd like to do is like video. Send you a video because I know a lot of people are really busy. They want their chart read. But also sometimes talking, you don't get as much information to digest in a one-on-one session. So I've decided I'm going to be doing video sessions recorded. So it'll be a lot more information for that hour of time.
Got it. So they won't be present. You'll just be reading their chart.
Yeah. So I do that. And then if they need a follow-up call, I would love to do a follow-up call. But, for most people, just especially if they're real busy, a lot of business owners like want to have their chart read, but they're so busy building their own business that they're like, oh, when do I have time for this? So I've broken it down into like 4 different videos to be able to digest it like 10, 15 minutes at a time.
Love it. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. It's very efficient.
Yes.
I like that. I like efficient. You are a very wise woman, and I can't wait for your book. I really, really can't. If you guys go to her Facebook page, and I will post it. I will post it below, and I'll post the link for Naomi's website as well. But the way you write is just so beautiful, and so it really, really causes me to think in ways I never have. And I'm sure that's probably what you're trying to do, is push people a little bit.
Yes.
That provocation, right? Just push.
Well, my incarnation cross is the right angle cross of explanation.
Oh, okay.
And so like that is, once I realized like that is my gift, to be able to explain things and to share practical tools and to share, you know, how you get from point A to point B.
Yeah, I love it.
With so much compassion. Like I'm just really, really passionate about making the world safer to be human. Now that I've like fully, deeply accepted, like there's no such thing as perfect. You know, you can never get to a place of flawlessness.
Right.
And so how do we learn to leverage what we consider a flaw into its strength? And that's a big part of my mission.
Oh, so wonderful. So wonderful. Well, thank you again. And
thank you.
This was wonderful. Okay.
Yes, thank you so much. Have a great night.